Hello and welcome to the Botanical Biohacking Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Andrew Miles. If you look at what your enemy uses to hurt you, you can accurately find your weaknesses. And by addressing those weaknesses, you can make yourself stronger and you can leverage those weaknesses and turn them into strengths. And I think it's very important to learn from casinos and make casinos your guru. And I'm not just talking about finances. What I'm talking about are all of the psychological triggers that casinos use in order to manipulate people. They use very advanced psychology to drive addictive and compulsive behavior. They are masters of magnifying the illusions we all create for ourselves because they use our nature against us. They're the fastest way that wealthy people become poor. They leverage the best of psychology to make even intelligent people destroy themselves. By understanding what these master manipulators do, you can condition yourself in the direction of your own goals. Now, if you're like me, you may think of yourself as too smart to go blow money on a casino. But if you really look at how casinos work, it is likely that you are still being used and wasting your potential away through these same biological loopholes that casinos and other groups exploit. I'm not only talking about casinos, but the very nature of attachment and desire and how it can divert you off course and give other people and interests an opening to leech off of your energy. I first came to see how destructive this could be with Ahong. Ahong's family was very close with ours. His kids kept me up to date on the cool trends in Taiwan, and we looked at Chinese comic books and listened to pop music. Our parents hung out, and my stepdad got very animated when they went into regional dialects of Chinese that I couldn't follow. That was where I first came to really love Hakka people. They are called northern guests. Centuries ago, they migrated from northern China to southern, living in isolated communities or insulated communities, and in my experience, they're some of the warmest people on earth. Just like my stepdad, Ahong arrived fresh off the boat from Taiwan with only a couple $100 in his pocket. And they both walked around on the streets in LA until they found Chinese writing and found a Chinese restaurant that they could work at, sleeping on a mat in the back. And while my stepdad went on to get his PhD in statistics, while putting himself through school, Ahong went into his own restaurant. At home, he prepared very different food than at the restaurant, sometimes featuring duck obtained from the city park. His son Tony would go with him, and even though Tony was American enough to feel awkward about it, he accompanied his dad and put those ducks into bags just the way he said. Now, Ahong worked hard and he brought in a lot of money. But he had a problem. Ahong was addicted to casinos. One time after lunch in summer, he asked his son Tony to go with him to the casino. I could see Tony's eyes just kind of went dead. He just died inside. And he went as a good son and was obedient enough that even though he knew it was hurting his family and his future, he wanted his dad to feel happy. Any fortune that came to them was quickly drained away. Ahong wasn't at his full potential because he had forces within him fighting his success and his family's capacity to thrive. Ahong was not dumb. He was not even foolish. He was diligent and smart and made great decisions. But he was stuck under a spell. So what was it about these casinos that got a hold of him? It seems easy from an outside perspective to say, Ahong, stay out of the casinos. Removing this one obstacle that had him under a spell would have rocketed his family into a state of safety and opportunity that they couldn't have imagined. The way in which casinos and other dopamine cycles keep us trapped can teach us a lot about leveraging this same power in the direction of our own personal goals. But to learn from casinos, to see if there is anything in your life that has a hold on you, you need to be completely honest. And only then can you see what is holding you back from enjoying a richer and better quality of life. See, it may not be as drastic as it was with Ahong, but let's say that your attention is being diverted in a way that drops your income by even 15 to 20% a year. If you had that back in your pocket, what would that mean for your life? What would that mean if through that attention and time you put that into your relationship, your family, into self-care? How much stronger and more glowing would you be at this time next year if you implemented it? Casinos prey on our instinctual drives, our neuroendocrine system, and leverages our biases in order to consume us. So we must know our enemy, so we can turn them from a predator into a teacher. By learning from them and doing exactly the opposite, you can enjoy a richer life with more beautiful peak experiences. Now, one of the first principles that they use is the idea of a random reward. See, they leverage this logical instinct of reward and punishment, but they reward relatively randomly. Random rewards lead to obsessive behavior, and random punishments lead to demoralization. Now, both of these lead to slavery of different types. For the random reward, we respond with hopefulness. If we see everybody winning around us, we think our turn will come so long as we keep doing this action. Rats who are given cocaine randomly when they push a red button will spend days continually pushing the red button, hoping that cocaine comes out. Now, in life, there are tendencies which lead to success, like hard work. But isn't it also true that sometimes success is not found in hard work? Now, if you are a diligent, good person, a great, productive American who's doing your own kind of business, this may be your red button. I know it's been my red button. Working hard allows me to achieve certain goals that I've had. Nothing wrong with that, but does that hard work always yield a reward? Not always. Now, if I knew that doing a set amount of work would yield set results, I would definitely not work as hard or as obsessively as when it comes randomly. This is what we are when we're all pushing day and night like those rats, and sometimes rewards do come, but not as predictably as they would in a more natural setting. So if I am in the jungle and I've got a bunch of buddies around me and I find some nuts and I figure out I can take a rock and I can crack that nut open, that's a predictable way to get that reward. Now, maybe not all of the nuts will be perfect, but most of them are going to be fairly edible. And other people can see what I'm doing, they can follow that same movement, and as a result, the entire troop, the entire tribe is able to eat. So this is a natural instinct that we have. But when they put out random rewards this way, wins that appear random. This keeps people in the casinos pushing and pulling levers just like the rats. And how if it were a fact that you could pull a slot machine handle 100 times and you would definitely win more money than you put in, then this instinct would be beneficial. But if that's not correct, then it could be absolutely damaging to you. Now, random rewards do come in life. Sometimes we make more money, sometimes we make less. Sometimes we have good luck, sometimes we have bad. Now, when that good luck happens, if you use that as a reason to have a holiday or to have a reward, you're effectively making yourself a slave to that outside stimuli. So as an action step to veer away from this, I would suggest making rewards intentional and meaningful. If you reward yourself when the tide is high, you will feel naturally punished when the tide is low. But aren't both the high and low tide essential for life on this planet? And if it is true that you are punishing yourself half of the time, this is the way to make half of your life a painful experience. And we all do this. We'll buy more rewards when we can, when things are good. But when things are good, you actually don't need the rewards like you do when it's bad. It's when things are bad that you need to adapt and change and adapt your behavior to the environment, to the changing times. It's when life is challenging that you need it more. So I would suggest letting go of living your life as though gain and loss were the guiding forces of your happiness or the way in which you spend more or less. Focus on your own goals and set your own rewards for yourself according to your own success metrics, because this takes your reward cycle back into your locus of control. Either set specific times and places for rewards and remain frugal until then. You can consider these holy days, or perhaps we can call them holidays. That was the entire idea of them before. And rather than glitch, look at setting time aside for restoring and intentional connections where you can feel whole. Avoid rewarding yourself when random events happen. Instead, I would invite you to forego your rewards and put them in line with your goals, which pertain to your own growth. Number 2, casinos hate clocks. Let's start really simply with this. You can't see a clock up at a casino. There is a reason social media doesn't have a stopwatch that begins when you log on. If you saw the time pass so quickly, you wouldn't spend so much in the way of time. The first step outside this casino is to understand how much time you're spending there. In the Huainanzi, a transliteration by Thomas Clary, he says, successful people are economic in their actions and careful about time. I got to thinking about this recently, and I bought a watch. Now, why would I buy a wristwatch? Logically, they are outdated. I could obviously just look at my cell phone. I could look at my computer screen and know with much greater precision what time it is. But I found that my cell phone was not helping me keep the time so much as it was distracting me. I would look at the time to see what time it was, and a message would pop up saying, hey, someone messaged you. And my dopamine circuit was on, and it would itch in the back of my mind. Oh, God, am I ignoring somebody? Is that a message? Is it an emergency? Was it urgent? And these thoughts bored into me like a parasite. And I realized, is getting a watch illogical? Yes. But isn't it also illogical that I'm looking at my phone and checking messages more than I otherwise would because of that dopamine cycle? Yes. So I bought a watch. Nothing fancy, nothing you would recognize, but something well made and mechanical. And yes, it was an emotional purchase. But I was already writing what I call ghost checks. I was writing checks of lost opportunity, lost intention, lost energy by having distractions from using my cell phone as my timepiece. And yet it was still affecting my endocrine system in a way that was no less real, even though it was emotional. When I say emotional, it doesn't mean that it's not real. Emotions influence the endocrine system. They influence our actions. Casinos are full of flashy lights, just like that cell phone, and I wanted to step outside for a little bit. Now, I'm not a technophobe, but it is too easy to look to electronics to try to escape the feeling of being stuck. I don't want to live in a casino. They're not happy or glamorous. They're a kind of hell or purgatory that people get stuck in. It's a liminal space. The rat pushing that red button, hoping to get a taste of heaven. They offer the land of the lotus eaters. In the book The Odyssey, Odysseus found his men in an enchanted land. They escaped into a feeling of paradise, but they were trapped. They were trapped in that complacency because they were being rewarded for doing nothing, except draining their life away. Now, I'm no Odysseus, but I have been roused by friends enough to get back to the ship, and in that direction of my destiny, I would offer you a gentle nudge along the way. Because real challenges lay ahead of us in life, and adapting to it will be both interesting and fun. With ice age glaciers melting and tropical diseases coming forth, COVID is far from being the last pandemic we will face in our lifetimes. I say this because plagues and major shifts in government have followed each other historically like thunder and lightning. There may be greater challenges we need to face which require our full faculties, discipline, and resilience. So the freedom you are looking for is not in a metaverse. That will only be a cheap casino for controlling the slaves. Like you, I want true freedom and purpose and peak experiences, and that comes through discipline, teamwork, and helping each other back to our destiny. It comes by leaving the land of the lotus eaters and getting back to the ship, to pursue our own path with intensity and clarity. It's about true control rather than the feeling of control that is sold. Casinos use busy carpets designed to be intentionally ugly. The intent is to keep your focus away from your internal voice and away from introspection. They can't have you reflecting on yourself, otherwise you would realize that trying to win your money back is a sunken cost fallacy. Instead, they want your eyes moving from one flashing distraction to another, taken by the attention of the sudden success everyone else is getting but you. Is there anything in your life that is pulling you away from introspection and demanding your time and attention? Are there attention-getting headlines pulling your eyes from one form of external stimuli to the next? In Zen Buddhist monasteries, they teach adherents to meditate while gazing at the floor. In India, this is done as well. And mosques, by contrast, have some of the most beautiful carpets ever woven, whereas casinos have the ugliest. One wants your eyes down and your intent in the heart. The other wants you distracted. So here's a life action step that I've taken. Clean your floor. Make looking down a pleasant experience. Make silence possible. Without active reflection, it will be hard to find your bearings. It will be hard to find your North Star. You will be pulled to the four directions. So activities like having a rock garden, cutting the grass, fishing, looking down at water, journaling. I've really enjoyed journaling for years, and I've gotten back into it with greater intensity. In doing so, you may find that you can reflect and dream your own dream, rather than being dazzled and bewitched by lights. One of the more powerful forces that both casinos and social media use is comparing yourself with others. In a casino, the lights are flashing. You hear other people winning to the right and left. You react as though a loss of attention, even for a moment, will lead to a loss of your big opportunity and your big payout. It's your turn. This makes use of sunken cost fallacy as well as a desire for future reward. You think to yourself, it's going to be my turn. I'm due. And the guy in the slot machine who just wins looks around as though it is an act of pride that he was just paid off on a small percentage of what he actually put in. He lost publicly, yet wears a smile because he lost less than the guy next to him. I see this on every road in America. People live beyond their means, losing to debt companies, enslaved to financial institutions, yet having a slightly better toy than their neighbor. They look smugly at the neighbor, even though they have both been robbed. But one feels that he has lost less than the other guy. And by losing less, he mistakenly believes that he has dominance. It's taken as rising in a dominance hierarchy. The homeless veteran with the American flag over his shopping cart may look down on the Viet Cong he left behind, even as they enjoy a better quality of life, both in their home country and in his. Comparing yourself to others is a scam, even if it does have its roots in nature. It comes from a place that makes sense. This is how we measure what we should be doing within our village, within our tribe. But it's leveraged by both ourselves and others in ways that enslave and destroy us. Casinos give that impression that everyone has something but you. It loudly celebrates wins, but it does not show you the losses. Then when your turn comes, you don't notice that it is pennies on the dollar, pennies on your own dollar, that you are winning back. If the people were comparing themselves to themselves, they would see they were losing and feel no envy or greed at hearing the bells and ringing signals for others. They might just think, good for him. This still isn't a good investment for me. When you are on social media and see your friends having good times with good hair days, it may give you a feeling of warmth at first. You're happy to see them win. But when everyone is having this experience but you, it draws your attention in, just like that casino, and you begin to feel like repetitively copying them. In that doing what they're doing may bring you the same kind of success. Unfortunately, this may derail you from where you are actually going in life. And getting to where you want will never be fair. In fact, most of the time, it is unfair, especially if you're going into a new location. If you're creating a new trail and someone is going on a trail that's already been walked, it is unfair. There are branches in your way, there are more obstacles. Salmon swim upstream in order to spawn. That is unfair. And in my own life, I've found that achieving my goals has usually come at the expense of it being very unfair to myself. So I've achieved certain goals in life that were brutally unfair to myself. And no one cares. And that is okay. Because to tell you the truth, I don't even care. The only thing that truly matters is efficiency of outflow versus inflow. And I compare myself with myself even as I draw inspiration from more effective people and draw feelings of gratitude for not having the challenges that other people face. I will draw strength from that, but it won't divert from the fact that I have my own goals. So if I'm in a negotiation with somebody and they're pushing for 60-40, I'll say 65-35. Why? Because I'm not comparing myself with them. That's a logical fallacy. And there can be no comparison as another person, maybe by fate or habit, set on a different course in life toward different people, toward different ends. I can learn from them, but I can't put myself in some sort of ranking with them. And this is how I know what others gain in relation to you doesn't matter. In the I Ching, it says, don't look to the right or left in success. In failure, don't look to the right or left. Envy makes you a puppet. Jealousy makes you a puppet. And envy drives casino action. It destroys the person who is infected by it. It is also the driving force between hate groups. If you had no envy, they couldn't manipulate you. It's the idea that those people have things they didn't deserve, and I deserve the things that they have. It turns well-meaning, even moral people into absolute savages who have done some of the worst things in human history. And mass media leverages it very well. So I would suggest to you to tune out mass media and tune into micromedia as you are doing now, especially micromedia that nourishes you mentally and emotionally. Avoid trashy media that is there to collect likes. My personal filter that I look for in quality sources that offer knowledge is that the knowledge should still be relevant in 20 years and even 2,000 years. It helps me walk the earth with the seasons and relate harmoniously with my fellow creatures. And when it passes those criteria, I'm all in. If the article is about a famous person's hindquarters, I'm less interested. This is not that relevant to my life. It's a distraction. So the action steps of this are to take inventory of where you came from, and then look at yourself now. Feel gratitude for all the challenges you faced, and the people who helped you, and the people who opposed you to help you get where you are today. I tell you, I would be nothing without my detractors and my enemies. Thank you guys, you make me better. And really just imagine that life is a party. And at the end of the night, you look at your friends enviously and try to determine who had more wine to drink than you. You wouldn't do that. It's ridiculous. You're just going to be happy to be with your friends. You're happy to have had the same time together. You're happy to be in the same place with your friends. You're having a good time. Well, here's the thought. Most people who have ever lived are dead. A small percentage are alive at the same moment as you are. So this is your party. And if they dance better, wear a cuter dress, or drink a bit more, it doesn't matter. You are here, and we're happy for it. And out of comparing yourself to others comes the next illusion. The illusion of control. That guy in the suit rolling craps, he's doing something. He's using his brain. The lady pulling the one-armed bandit is doing something. They feel that their actions and choices will lead to a reward. This is the demoralizing, addicting feeling we had in the last election. No one wanted the lineup we had. No one thinks it represents the best and brightest of our country. It was simply the red button we were offered to provide an illusion of control and an escape from where our power actually exists. It allows us to lose, but lose less than those other suckers. And everything about the current culture war going on in America is about losing less and being a little bit better than those other crazy people. That's casino mentality through and through. But when you go to a casino and you find somebody who has real power, someone who is actually good at the game, you're going to see a very different reality. See, the person who's no good at the game, they're bringing over the prawns, they're bringing over free drinks. But when somebody is really good at the game, see, there is a room in that casino with 1,000 eyes processing every movement of every player. And if one player starts winning too much, they are thrown out. The game is not there for you to win, but it's there for you to lose in style. The illusion of control is essential to keep you looking to the right and left as though you are winning simply because other people are losing more. And in doing so, you get to feel pride that you are better than they are. The illusion of control helps contribute to the previous fallacies, the sunken cost fallacy. Comparing yourself with others, it would not work if there was no illusion of control. If you have no control, then you have no continued investment. And this is why the illusion of control is so important to enslave people, and why freedom requires walking away from it, even if the cost of temporary disillusionment is incredibly uncomfortable. The illusion of control often looks like choosing between two corporate-backed oligarchs. It looks like subscribing to one side of a twin ideology with twin roots. It looks like choosing your news station, where every news station is saying the same thing and spreading the same lie. If the action does not have a way to truly benefit your life and those who you care about, then it is only providing you an illusion of control. When I listen too much to politics, my mind starts wandering in the shower, and I think of what I would do if I were the president. Have you ever done that? If I were in control of the world, this is what I would do. It's so completely stupid and wasteful. My time would be better spent remembering that which is significant to my own station and purpose in life. Hell, it would be better for me to remember where I put the keys to save myself 10 minutes looking for them. Instead, I'm thinking about what I would do in the Middle East. It's ridiculous. So this is the life action plan. If you have been taking part in actions which give you a feeling of control but don't actually empower you, I would ask you to consider setting those aside for a time. When it comes to breaking the spell, there are herbs which may help you. Herbal formula Shayasan regulates dopamine, making the casino diversions less powerful and helping you awaken from the land of the lotus eaters. After doing this, look to kidney tonics like Liu Wei Di Huang or Jingui Shenqi. Please consider some of the ideas and then do what you like. And I would ask you, if you can think of anything else, please share it with me. Email me at andrew@botanicalbiohacking.com. I wish you success in reclaiming your time, your intent, and your life. Let's get the hell out of the casino and build a world worth living in and leaving to our children. Thank you so much for listening to the Botanical Biohacking Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Andrew Miles.